Hello, my name is Deborah Arellano and you are watching RPTV. On May 10, 2023, members of the Regent Park community held the SDP Progress Report 2022 meeting. The Regent Park Social Development Plan, also known as the SDP, is a community-wide initiative aimed at fostering unification and community collaboration. The Social Development Plan is constructed by 4 areas of priority. These include the Community Building Working Table, the Safety Network, Employment and Economic Development, and lastly, the Communication Table. Representatives from each of these working groups delivered reports to the community. The presenters were Walid Kungali Ali, Joel Klassen from the Community Building Working Table, Mershida Samson Maween, and Adonis Huggins from the Communication Table, Gail Lynch from the Employment and Economic Development, and lastly, Hajia Abubakar and Inez Garcia from the Safety Network. Let's go see how the meeting went.
¿Qué estás haciendo esta noche? Ven a mi lado, no te agotes. Deja esa tristeza y no abandones. Sigo aquí cantando que me perdone. Haru hace sobre nothing not there for me. Even though you're done with me, baby. You know you're the one for me, baby. Running, running, running. She want nothing from me. I need you alone, man, of pressure.
Just want to do a couple thank yous real quick before we get started. I want to do a couple thank yous. Free the Revolution, the entertainment for the food, and the food servers and all of that. Let's give a hand for them. Thank you. Maybe just while we're setting up this, just some quick introductions. I'm Greg Gary. I'm the Executive Director at the Toronto Kiwanis Boys and Girls Club, newly named BGC Toronto Kiwanis, and you guys know it's K Club. And Marlene?
Hi, I'm Marlene Degenova, and I'm one of the co-chairs as well for the SDP, and also one of the co-chairs for the RPNA.
Hi everyone, my name is Ismail Afrah. I'm the Toronto Community Housing co-chair of the Social Development Plan. Thank you, and here we go. Our meeting purpose tonight is to celebrate and share with the community the Social Development Plan Progress Report for 2022. The Social Development Plan is the plan for this community, and there's a commitment from the stakeholders table that we would, on annual basis, report to community around the progress that we've made in the year. So this is our progress and celebration night, and we welcome you as well. Our meeting agenda for tonight is as follows. You will hear from the 4 working groups of the Social Development Plan in terms of the things that they've done for 2022 and the things that they plan to do for 2023. There'll be an opportunity for you to ask questions and get some clarifications and give some feedback in terms of what you've heard. And at the end, we'll be doing some closing. And as you've heard from Greg, we have the Catch Da Flava magazine available to you, in which there's details of the projects that each of the work groups have been working on. Please take home with you a copy. For some context, what is the Social Development Plan? The Social Development Plan is one of the key pillars of the revitalization of this neighborhood. If you look at the revitalization, it stands on 2 pillars. One, a physical development, and another, a social development. And in that social development, there are key working groups and committees that are responsible for making sure that we build a cohesive and inclusive community. So this is the structure of the Social Development Plan. At the heart of it is the stakeholders table, which meets about every 3 to 4 months. And in those meetings, they're responsible for decision making around some of the big things that affect social development. For each of the stakeholders table, there's a committee that supports its work. And in that committee, funding, resourcing, planning, and all these elements are supported through the different committees. There are also working groups that help implement the Social Development Plan, and they each meet around monthly to support the 4 areas of work. One of them is safety, employment and economic development, community building, and communication. And you'll hear from them tonight as each of them showcases the things that they've done for 2022. And as I said, there are committees as well that support the stakeholders table. Each of these committees are responsible for a given area. There is the planning committee, which makes sure that everything is aligned and coordinated. There is the funding and resource, which is responsible for sourcing funding and resources that are needed. And of course, the evaluations and benchmark, which helps to evaluate if we're making progress towards the social development plan. So how can you participate? The best way to participate through the work groups is to connect with one of the co-chairs and the emails. You have all of them here present tonight, and they'll share with you how to best connect with them. You can participate by coming to their monthly meetings. You can be involved in the different projects that they're leading, and also you could be part of their leadership team as well. So I'll pass on to my co-chairs, who will introduce each of the work groups and hear presentations from them.
Okay, we're going to start with the community building. And if we could get the co-chair for the community building to come up, please, and give their presentation. Waleed, if you could introduce yourself, Waleed.
And I see Joel here. Perfect. Is Rabia with us? Rabia? Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Waleed Kogali Ali, and I'm one of the co-chairs of the Community Building Working Group. I'm the resident TCHC co-chair. In fact, our other resident co-chair, her name is Rabia, who is not with us today, but hopefully is going to be joining us soon. She's here? Perfect. There's Rabia. Okay. So I just want to acknowledge Rabia's contribution to the Community Building Working Group. Yes, Rabia. Thank you so much. There's a lot of people clapping. That's great. I'm now going to hand over the mic to my good friend Joel, who's going to introduce himself.
And I'm Joel Clausen, one of the agency co-chair for community building, and I work with Yonge Street Mission in the Community Development Department. So we want to just give you a brief summary of the work that we've been doing over the last year. So we start with just our goal. So this has been in place since the beginning of the refresh for several years now. We want to create accessible, informal and formal spaces. So places where people can organize themselves to come together formally or just to hang out together. Different ways of people coming together. We want to organize events and groups. We want to bring people together. We want to remove barriers that prevent us from coming together. And those could be social or physical barriers. And we want to build bridges between different groups in the community, between market residents and TCH and social housing residents, and between residents and the agencies and the institutions that are in the community.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you for going through that really amazing intro of our goal and why we're here as a community building working group. What I'm going to quickly talk about is activities and projects for 2022 and 2023. And before I get started, I just want to thank the community. I want to thank the many volunteers, the many volunteers that have made our events a success. Some of these activities actually in 2022 didn't receive core funding or program funding from the SDP. There were contributions made by grassroots organizations and residents who really wanted to make these events possible. So I'll start off with Sunday in the Park. It happened last year and it was as big as ever. I think we had a huge turnout. We had a lot of people participate in so many activities focused on our youth, our seniors. We had some, not just a barbecue, but stuff that families could do together. We had inflatables. I want to give a shout out to our partners and sponsors, Toronto Community Housing, Healing as One, Yonge Street Mission. I want to give a shout out to Ismail Afrah, who was our coordinator for Sunday in the Park in 2022. Ibrahim,
It wouldn't have been possible without you, my brother. Thank you. Thank you for what you've done. And as the slide deck says, it was led by Healing Us One. We had over 700 residents eat with us. We had games, trivia, and we had vendors, local vendors promoted. We made sure that our local caterers, our local business owners, our local supporters had an opportunity to showcase what they are able to offer to our community. So thank you to everyone that was involved in Sunday in the Park. The next thing that I'm going to quickly talk about that's a very important priority to many of us is space, right? We're all enjoying this lovely space right here at Daniel Spectrum. We have access to the 3rd floor for the community building working group and many of the grassroots organizations that are involved in community building. We have a safe space for youth, right, on our 3rd floor, thanks to the great partnership with Healing Us One and many other youth groups. I think it's important for us to realize that space is going to be a priority for our community as we move to phases 4 and 5. The rezoning application now is being considered by the city. And what we did as a community building working group is we didn't keep quiet. We got together and we got 29 organizations to inform, 29 grassroots organizations, just take that in, 29, inform our space needs report. And what that space needs report revealed is we needed a lot of outdoor space and indoor space, okay, for the many organizations that were operating in Regent Park, and some of them were operating off the park, the actual park, off the benches, okay? So the findings of that report was submitted to Tridale, which is the developer partner for phases 4 and 5, as well as Toronto Community Housing, to inform something called the Community Facilities Report. Okay, so it's a report that they have to do to ensure that they've looked into the needs of the community when it comes to space. So what we've asked right now is for a strategy on how to implement that space, okay? So that was done in March of last year. We had about 30 total submissions, 29 from organization, 1 about space governance, and that was very important. We are calling on an AOCC model for community governed space. We don't want just space to be created and then we can't use it. You know, it closes at 6 o'clock, closes at 7 o'clock. We need our youth, we need our seniors, we need the folks that need programming in our communities to be able to access that critical space, okay? Now, I'm gonna pass on the next thing for Joel to quickly talk about, which is Access to Space Project, and then I'll wind off on the UN Habitat Pavilion.
And so Access to Spaces was another project of the Community Building Working Group, and it was looking to where there are spaces just in agencies and spaces that are held by owners of buildings around the neighborhood, and how that can be made available also to community members. So just looking at ways to get access to those spaces for community groups. And that was, that project has concluded that phase, but we're still looking at ways that we can improve and get better access to those spaces.
Excellent. The last thing is, I just want to remind everyone, if you are to cross the street and walk down, you'll see 660 Dundas. That's the new home of the World Urban Pavilion. And actually, we have 2 amazing folks who sit on the steering committee. Shout out to Marlene, who sits on the steering committee, as well as Ibrahim. And this is a very critical space for us to tell our story as a community about what we've learned through the redevelopment of Regent Park, the investments that have been made. And what we've done is we've supported the UN Habitat Pavilion intentionally. So both myself and Rabia, shout out to Rabia in the back, have been very, very active promoting the work of the pavilion. And most importantly, what we've also done is brought the issue of food insecurity, right, to the front lines, to the discussion tables that we're having at the pavilion. And we formed a Regent Park a coalition to address food insecurity in Regent Park and across the city of Toronto by reminding folks of the food charter. Do you folks know that we have a food charter? Yes? Some people are saying yes? Who knows about the food charter? Hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, 5 people. Good. We need more people to know that we do have a food charter, right? And what we can do to implement our food charter locally here in Regent Park. So those are some of the activities that we had in 2022, and we have a lot more to report about in 2023. Bigger and better events from the Community Building Working Group. And I just want to thank all the organizations and members of the Community Building Working Group that choose to meet with us monthly, that choose to meet in between meetings to deal with the critical issues like space. Thank you.
And we'll wrap it up now, but also just that we do meet monthly, and we will have our contacts up here. If you're online, you can see them, or you can see them in the at the end of the presentation. And you can also just come talk to us and connect with us that way. And in our monthly meetings, we also are building community. We have people giving presentations about the work they do in the community, so that people who come to the meetings can learn about, oh, this is other things that are happening in the community, and those parts of the meetings are well loved by the members of the group. I think, and I want to also give a big shout out and big thanks to Tawhida Chowdhury. Thanks, Tawhida, for preparing this slideshow for people to see.
So one last thing before we hand over the mic is we're looking for volunteers. We're looking for new members. Please contact us, and we'll make sure to email you our meeting details. And most importantly, bring your ideas to the table, because it's your ideas that become great events or initiatives in our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we're going to move now to the Communications Working Group. And with the co-chairs to that group, please come up. Here they come. Here they come. Here comes Marshida. There you go.
I don't know what's Adonis prepared. Adonis, oh Savior! I'll join you, please. Go ahead. Keep going. So my name is Marshida. I'm the new co-chair for the communication table. Again. Thank you for that. Thank you. I used to be the one for the community building. Now I'm here, so I do have a little experience. Thanks for that. And this is Adonis.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Adonis Huggins. I'm the agency co-chair for the communications table, and it's pleased to work with Mashida on the communication table and the rest of the committee, some members who are here right now. So great to see you in the audience, members. Do you want to start off with Hello Neighborhood?
So we were doing the promotion with the Hello Neighborhood app. So basically, all the information is supposed to be in there, able to access from your home, from your phone, and so people can have the access without even going anywhere. So we had that. We did the promotion on that with the promotion team, myself, Lizette, and Samhar. So I believe we try to reach much people as possible. So that's a big applause. And even when I went to one of the student fair, they said, oh, the community have an app. I was like, yeah, of course we have an app. That's why we're developing our community, right? So that's a great news. And then I wish people can download that app, and then, please be in there so that things can be happening a lot. Anyway, and I really want to thank Samhar and Lizette for that, because they did a lot of work for that. And then please, guys, do watch RPTV for all the information happening in the community.
So did you want to, we have Abraham here, who is the coordinator of the Hello Neighborhood app. So stand up, Abraham, and so if you have questions about the app, he's the one to ask. And again, it's supposed to be a one-stop shopping. You're able to get Catch Da Flava, you're able to get RPTV updates, you're able to get news about the community, events about the community, and agencies in the community. So if you want to find out what agencies are there or what agencies serve this community, you can find out there. Or if you're looking for a particular service, find out through the app. So that's the Hello Neighborhood app. However, we realize that there is more than one method to communicate and to get information, which is why we have
promotion team, I guess.
Why we have the Catch the Flavor magazine. So this is taken over from the Regent Park newsletter, as you know. So we will continue to produce Catch the Flavor as an e-newsletter. And there will be a print magazine, which you all have or should have with you now. They're not going to be exactly the same thing. Some of the articles will be in both. But some articles you won't find in the e-newsletter that you will find in the magazine. The e-newsletter is more about events and everything in the community as well as some articles. The magazine will very few times have events in it. So if you're looking for events that won't show in this magazine, this is more about what's going on in terms of issues in the community, what kind of concerns community members have, and might be about the larger community as well. So things about the election that's happening and anything that is considered relevant to this community will be in the printed magazine. So that will come out once a month, and same with the e-newsletter will come out once a month as well. And most of all, it's going to reflect what's going on in the SDP as well. So a very important thing that we do is we feature some of the issues, discussions that's going on in the SDP so that you know what's happening.
Do you know where we can get it?
And the newsletter, this magazine will be available mostly at the Daniel Spectrum for people, and will be always here for sure. And then we distribute a few copies to different community groups in the area as well. So hopefully you will get somewhere. And you could always contact us for that. And we are always looking for contributions. So if you feel like making a contribution, writing an article about the community or something you're interested in the community, please feel free. We'd love to get your article, and we'll figure out where to put it. The last thing, of course, is RPTV. Do you want to say a few things about RPTV?
Honestly, if I miss any meeting, I personally go in there and just to get the basic thing. I will go and find out what's happening, just to keep in touch with it. So I will definitely recommend, if you want to know your community, please do watch RPTV.
So RPTV is a YouTube channel for Regent Park TV. And so we feature meetings like this that we're filming. See, our crew is right here. Say hi, crew. Yeah. And they're members of the community as well, so we try to get to as many events that happen. But we also, anything related to the SDP, we really focus on. So, because we really want people to understand what the SDP is about, what it goes on at the SDP, and the activities of the projects and groups that are involved in the SDP. So we'll do that. We'll also film meetings that happen. We'll put meetings that go on with the planning committee meetings, and some of the working groups will also be on the YouTube channel, so you could see meetings that happen, so you could find out what's going on and hopefully inspire you to get involved. And lastly, we have something called the Regent Park Weekly News. And basically, it is your CBC news report of the Regent Park community that's not done by CBC. It's done by Regent Park TV. And yeah, raise your hands if you saw at least one issue of Regent Park TV. Yeah. Oh, wow, what an audience. You guys are great. So keep watching. So we try every 2 weeks, we try to put news going on in the community, and whatever happens around the community, we look at safety. There's stuff about employment. There's stuff about issues going on. There's discussions that are had at the SDP. There's events that go on in the community. So our reporters are out there always trying to gather information and always trying to put it together to showcase what's going on in this community. Again, the reason why we do this is for social inclusion. We want to make everybody feel that even if you haven't been in a meeting, that you know what's going on in the community. Even if you haven't been to an event, that you know what's going on in the community, you know what the issues are. We even put safety issues that happen in the community. So again, everybody is aware of all the information that goes on. So that's our challenge, and we're always looking for, if you want to be one of our host reporters or journalists, we're always open to that. And if you want to learn how to film and do some filming for us, film events, we're always open to that as well. So we encourage you to get involved. And I think did we cover everything?
I think we covered everything, but anybody wants to involve with the communication team, please join us. Connect with us and we'll give our information.
Yes, we meet once a month and we talk about what the content of the newspaper is, what's going on with Hello Neighborhood app. We talk about what's going on in Regent Park TV, what should we film, and really we get feedback from the community members about communications and how we could do it better. We're always looking at ways that we can improve what we do. So great to have you involved. So that's communications. Thank you. Oh, and we're looking for a market resident co-chair. We need a market resident co-chair. So if you're a market resident, we welcome you, and you're interested in communications, please join us.
You're such a good people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So let's. Okay, so we're going to move on to employment and economic development. If the co-chairs will come up. Who? Gail, here she is. Gail? Gail.
Oh, Lord God, for Zoom. Hi, how are you? Okay. Now, how many people are unemployed? First, and you know who put up their hands first? TCHC. I don't know what's happening in that company. How many people are unemployed? Unemployed, you need a job. I see one. You better don't put up your hands. I see 1, 2, right? So that means that we don't need jobs in Regent Park, which is great. I see 3, 4, 5. All of us at 6, thank you. Okay, so we actually need jobs. How many entrepreneurs here in Regent Park? In this room? 1. Lonely. 2, 3, 4, 5. I noticed the people that are looking for jobs are also entrepreneurs. That's how it goes, though. In other words, we need money. So, my name is Gail. I'm a market resident. I'm one of the co-chairs of Employment and Economic Development. The other one is busy in his very high role, so I'm going to do the presentation. We also have, we've kind of we are wild at EED, so we don't do things the same way that everybody does. So we kind of created a leadership table, which includes residents and stakeholders with money. So we invited Tridel, TCHC, and Daniels to our table because we need money, right? And that's why they're part, and along with the fact that they have a lot of intelligence and ideas, so we'd like to learn from them. So that's why they're at the table. So in 2022, we got $91,000 to do things, so to advance our goal, and our goal is to increase employment and economic entrepreneurial activities in the community. We only got $91,000 to do that. So that would tell you, right? So here are the couple things that we did. Of course, we did our monthly meetings. We have there's a company in Regent Park called Infinigard. You'll see they're doing security for this building. They're doing security, I believe, for Due North. But they are a social enterprise in Regent Park, so they've been able to create high-paying jobs for folks in the community. The previous funding, they also created some videos to teach young people how to be security and go through that certification. So amazing. We also had an EED lead project. Anybody met Brian? Yeah, see, everybody loves Brian. Because Brian was connecting with the community to say, do you want a job? Are you looking to go back to school? Here's some resources. And every week he was sending out these job postings. Yes, he was being paid to do that, so I'm not doing that. But I'll send out as we get them, because there are definitely lots of job opportunities we've noticed in Regent Park. And so it's about what skills are needed to fill those roles. So that was part of some work that was done. So the EED lead was really to build relationships with the residents and build relationships with the organizations. And building relationships is about finding out, what do you need as a resident? You may be a parent who you cannot go to work at 8 in the morning because you got to drop your kids for 9. So you need a job that starts at 10 maybe. You also need to pick up your kids at 3, so you need to, right? So your working hours are a little bit different to kind of traditionally what we see. So how do we fill those types of needs, right? So that is part of the building relationships, understanding the community so that we can build the right programs to support the gaps. So lots of stuff. If you read this book, I'm not going through these numbers. There's lots of things we did in there, but I think one thing to highlight is 150 engagement sessions, 120 new contacts and email addresses we added to our mailing list. That included 16 youth and building relationships with 175 stakeholders. So that's some of the work. Out of that, we got a report about what is needed around employment and economic development. And so we took that information along with some data research that we had done the previous year, and we took all that information, laid it bare, and tried to understand what programs can we work on to support improving employment and entrepreneurial opportunities. And one of the things that came out of that was the Moonlight Market, that we needed some additional market where entrepreneurs can come and sell their ware. So we had some good learnings from that. One of the learnings was, this may not be the right spot, we want the street. So we've gone ahead and started to have the conversations with the powers that be about how can we animate the boulevard so that entrepreneurs can sell without going through the red tape of the city, because it's 8 weeks to get this space, right? You need 8 weeks advance notice and all the little hoops that you need to go through. So that's the type of work that we're doing. We're looking at what are the issues with the stakeholders at our table, how can we solve for that? We noticed that with the Moonlight Market, a lot of food vendors who did not have the food handler's certificate. And so again, because of the relationships that we built, we were able to go to the different organizations, YSM, Dixon Hall, TCLND, the city, to say, is there food handlers that we can do? Right? And we were able to get that done, especially at a time when we're in a pandemic where there were no in-person classes happening. Out of the research as well, we found that we needed a women's entrepreneur group because there were lots of women selling. And if I look at this audience, right, I can see that 75% of this audience are women identified, or female, however you want to identify, but they are women. So there's definitely a need there. We've created that group, and so one of the major things that we've done out of the research, we did a research project with CSI, and that research was about community wealth building. And one of the pieces that came out of that was we need a pathway for entrepreneurs, right? We know we're going to get the jobs out of the 26.8 million, we hope. We know we're going to be having conversations with the developers about that and their stakeholders, but how do we create an entrepreneurial pathway for Regent Park? We are not Rosedale, you know, we are not Young and Eglinton. There's a different dynamic here. So we have a 7-step entrepreneurial pathway, and what we are doing with every project now that we undertake, we are attempting to fill the gaps. What are the resources that are needed for step 1, step 2, step 3, and on and on. So that brings us to our meeting next week, May the 16th. May the 16th, next week's meeting, TCHC. It is going to be at the Pavilion. I believe it starts at 5. And you need to come to this meeting if you are interested in entrepreneurship. It is to understand where you are at in your journey and where you would like to go. If we know there are 7 steps and there's 50% of this community is at step 2, how do we get them to step 3? Or do they even want to go to step 3? How do we get to step 7? Step 7 is you get your own store. Anybody ready for that? Yeah, exactly, right? So yes, one person is ready. I'm not ready. She has a dream. So right, you have a dream. You want to get to step 7. You want to have your own, your own shop here in Regent Park. What are the things that we need to do as a community to get you ready for step 7? To equip you with the skills, the knowledge, the resources, because it takes a lot of money to get you to step 7, if that is what you would like, where you would like to be. So what we are doing next week is to understand where are you at as an entrepreneur and how we can support you so we can understand the gaps and fill the gaps. The gap means there's 26.8 million up for grabs, available, and what percentage of that do we need to fill these gaps, along with other places that we can get funding, which would be the City of Toronto, right? The federal government, the provincial government. They're all talking about entrepreneurship and its strategies. So how we need to say what we want, and the only way we can do that is if you say what you want, so we can then create the programs, the services, the networks that we need to get us there. Am I over time? Those are the 7 steps. I can't with the PowerPoint. So that's what our focus is this year. Is 1, we're going to do a cafe pop-up here for 3 months. That's part of the entrepreneurship journey. Let's pilot that. Let's get some entrepreneurs selling here and see where our challenges are, what's working for us, what's not working, and how do we fill those gaps. As much as we can fill the 7 steps in the entrepreneur pathway, that is our journey now. We also have another project we're working on. It's around a connected community model. And again, where we're understanding what do you need as a resident. And we want to work with, the idea is to work with the residents, work with the organizations, the agencies, grassroots organizations, so that we can build together, right? If we are working on entrepreneurship, YSM is working on it, Dixon Hall is working on it. What are you working on? What are you working on? What are we working on? How can we pull resources together? I know we are serving different masters, but there are always commonalities. And those are what we're trying to get at. So we're trying not to waste 26.8 million. We are trying to ensure that there are the right services, the right supports in place for entrepreneurs and also for those who are looking for employment. Looking for employment is the easier one. Entrepreneurship is the harder one, right? So what we need from you is to join us in this journey, because it is your journey, it is your opportunity. And if you come to the meetings and only complain, well, I can't do anything about that for you. I can listen, show empathy, but that's about where it stops. But when you come to the meeting and say, we need X, Y, Z, now we can start building together. Does that work? Yes? Okay. We also met today with some folks from, and I want to highlight this, some folks from the US. I don't know. They're here too. Regent Park is it. Everybody wants to come and see what Regent Park is doing, right? San Francisco and some other places, right? So they came and they asked us some questions about how are we doing this? How do we solve the problems? How do we get residents to lead? Like all kinds of questions. So my point here is that people are seeing the work that we're doing. They realize that we are making progress, but we as a community, we know where we're at. So it's our job to say, it's my time, this is for me, this is for my community, here's my voice, here are my hands doing the work, and no person is too small or too big to get into the trenches and do this work. Sorry? Yes, I have some flyers. Yes. Do you want to hand them out for me? Or you just want one? You just want, okay. Anybody that wants to hand them out for me, please. We have a promotions team. Yes, thank you, Samar. Thank you. Yes, we'll get you on. So, feel free to ask any questions, but I think they want me to shut up now. Sorry? Thank you, Lorna. That's why I love you. Yes, that's the focus.
Thanks so much, Gail. Okay, we're going to move on to our last group, which is safety. Haja? And Inez? Okay. Here they come. Okay. Haja and Inez.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Hajia Abubakar, and I'm a co-chair of Safety Network, Regent Park Safety Network. Too bad my other co-chair, Leonard, is not here. He's at a police board meeting, and he's much better speaker than I am, so please. So yeah, so in our safety meeting, we talk about what's happening to our community. We have a police coming. We invite police to come to tell us what's going on, anything that happened. They discuss with us. They tell us what they're doing. We give them a lot of hard time, which is sometimes not so good, but yeah. And we ask them questions. We ask them what they do, what they have to do, what they're doing about the things that's happening in our community. And we need, like most of the program, we need people to come and be part of it. We have a lot to talk about. We know people have a lot to say, so we really inviting you to come and join us, and we want to hear from you. You're the community. This is all for you, and we need you to come and join us. And right now we're working on an action book plan, which we're going to revise everything, and we're going to talk about it, and we just need the community to be involved. And Ines is going to talk about the action book plan.
About the grant that we received from before. So good evening, everyone. My name is Ines. I'm a TCHC tenant. Just letting you know, it's not just the 4 pillars that got money through the SDP. There's other members that got grants. I just had to say that because it's important, because there has to be transparency, that it's not just the 4 pillars. There's other people that got grants, but they're not here. So when we received the money for 21 to 22, we did a couple of training certificates. This is my big book where I write everything. I'm still old school. So I'm just gonna say we did CPR standard. We did 2 sessions. We had 31 people attended. We did CPR emergency. We did 2 sessions, 32 people attended. And that included food and breakfast and child mining. Speaking with confidence, we had 38 people. How to lead a meeting, we had 13. Mental health first aid, we had 41. That was three sessions. We had advocacy, 2 sessions, 31 people. Community trauma awareness, we had 33 people. In total, we had 219 participants throughout all those trainings. This time around, we did not get no grants. And it's very sad because we wanted to continue. We did evaluation in every session we did, and we heard the tenants, residents, what they would like to see, and a lot of them wanted to see some of this training that we did. But hopefully in the next round, we are going to apply again for grants. So just keep eye. We will put posters all over Regent, and and we'll continue doing what it's needed in the community. Thank you. Oh, and I have Marshida and Lisette of their, how they took the training just for the experience, and even Hadja too. She did the training with us. And now she's the co-chair of safety, and she works the CLND, and now she's an animator too. So now we just want to hear from the three of them to say a little bit of their experience. Lisette.
Thank you, Ines. Thank you. Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Lisette Kasul. I'm a TCHC resident, and I took how to speak with confidence and how to advocate for yourself and others, and one more?
I don't know, you did a lot.
Oh, how to lead a meeting, yes. And I can say that today I know how to lead a meeting because I'm leading a group of 35 women that we meet every week, Wednesday from 11 to 1 o'clock. And I'm one of the project coordinator, along with Mishida, Fazla, and Anika. So I do the facilitation, and it's going really well. And today we just got the good news that we can continue the program for another year. Yes, and I hope that projects that really make a difference in the community should be funded. And we were very sad that we didn't get the funding to continue our program, but we got the okay from the city that we can continue for another year. And I hope that speaking with confidence and how to lead a meeting and certificate course like that and City Network is creating can come back to the community, because we need all the resident voice, and we need a better Regent Park where we can teach our children how to be comfortable, how to talk with confidence, and how to help the community grow with the revitalization, because if we don't speak, nobody can speak for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Lizette. As you can see, I'm right in front of you, I'm talking. I'm pretty sure all the training I went with them, how to lead a meeting, how to speak with confidence. Honestly, this will build up a lot of skills with the people, among the people. I've been always doing volunteer behind works and this. Now I'm like in front of you guys and talking. So you can see the lot of difference. So I hope city will see this, and then they can get the funding, and rest of the women, even in our group, they need that sort of stuff. So we can able to, direct them. Please go there and do something. That's the reason we are here. And right now, because of that, whatever we took it, I guess we're running the women's group and then able to lead those up, right? Please, guys, do fund that, and then able to help the rest of the people who needs it. Not only women, also men, also anybody in the community, right? Please support them. Thank you, guys, for the hard work.
Thank you.
So, like my friend Masida said, she's example of the speaking with confidence and how to lead a meeting with Lizette, and you're looking at one right now, just like them. So, and the sad part about it is the program gets so popular, and we have so many people who sign up and waiting, and we have to keep telling them, oh, sorry, we didn't get the funding, and yeah, so hopefully next time when we apply, the funding will be approved, the meeting. Yeah, so, and the safety meeting, we have it every third Monday of the month, right? Yeah. 5:30 to 7:30. So yeah, thank you, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak, and yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, working groups. Community benefits, would you like to come back up and make a comment? Okay, there'll be just a minute. And then we're going to move into the Q&A after that. And we have folks online, and we also have folks in the audience, so we'll do a combination. Okay, Waleed, here you go.
Thank you, Greg. I'm just gonna, we have Shane. I'm gonna ask Shane to quickly introduce himself, and then we're gonna get started on the report back from the Community Benefits Oversight Working Group.
Hey everyone, of course we all know Waleed. Shane Bourne, I'm the supervisor of revitalization and renewal communities for Regent Park, and I also look after a community called Don Somerville. But I am here for tonight, and we're going to talk about the Community Benefits Oversight Working Group, aka CBOG. So if you hear that term in the community, it's not something that's random or funny. It's a group that we formed.
Thank you, Shane. So I'm gonna, yes, please applaud, please. So when you folks walked in, it was not an accident that you got this flyer. And it's a flyer that speaks to this really important survey that we need your help filling, but also spreading the word about, okay? And this survey was developed by members of the Community Benefits Oversight Working Group. And the Community Benefits Oversight Working Group is one of the committees of the Social Development Plan. So if you did not know that, you should know that, right? And I have the privilege to being the resident co-chair of the Community Benefits Oversight Working Group alongside my good friend Shane here. And what we're gonna do quickly is encourage you to pick the survey, to complete it. That's number one, very important. And number two, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you a brief overview of our activities in 2022, okay? So in 2022, basically in May of 2022, the Community Benefits Oversight Working Group, which I said earlier is a committee of the Regent Park Social Development Plan, was formed with members recruited from the Regent Park community. We are a group of 20 resident voting members with an equal split between Toronto community housing tenants as well as market residents. Remember, our goal as a social development plan is social cohesion and inclusion, right? So that's a demonstration of that goal. It's through the membership. We also have non-voting members, including staff from Toronto Community Housing, Tridel, the City of Toronto, Toronto Community Benefits Network, and the Regent Park Neighborhood Association, as well as the Regent Park Community Health Center and Yonge Street Mission. They provide subject matter expertise to the Community Benefits Oversight Working Group. So throughout 2022, our primary focus was to work with Toronto Community Housing and Tridel to develop an engagement plan outlining how the Regent Park community will be consulted on the allocation of $26.8 million of community benefits that was provided by Tridel when it won the opportunity to develop phases 4 and 5 as the developer partner. With the support of Monumental Consulting, CBOG, TCHC, and Tridel identified various groups whose voices needed to be amplified, the best methods for engaging residents of diverse backgrounds, and how community priorities that have already been highlighted could be addressed. And I want to give a special shout out to Isha. Isha, you do a lot of great work. Thank you so much for your amazing support of the Community Benefits Oversight Working Group. And I want to acknowledge Peter. Peter, welcome on board. I know you're new, but you've been supporting us as well. And also the members of CBOG here. I see Miguel, I see Ines, I see Marlene, I see Ismail, I see, who else have I forgotten here? Oh my gosh, Caitlin, Dini, Gail, Alona. Yes, I said Gail. Who else? Who else is Lizette? Yes. And you? Okay, future member, that's for sure. Okay. And Rabia. Rabia too is also a member. Welcome, Rabia. There she is. Okay, so this work is not possible without the resident leaders who spent tireless amount of time making the engagement plan a possibility, right? So please help us with the engagement. We're gonna have a lot of great things to report back for 2023, but we need your help. Get us those surveys filled out. Thank you.
I want to thank Willie for those inspiring words. I just want to drive home the point, and I think what Willie did of showing the actual CBOG members in the audience. This is a community engagement process that is informed by members that are in the audience, sitting beside you, living amongst you. And the decisions that are going to be made is to be for the community for 5, 10, 15 years down the road. So this engagement process is to help shape the future of you, your kids, your grandkids, and the future of Regent Park. These are the 2 last phases of the revitalization, and we want to get it right. That's why we have the community members helping us engage, or we have the community members helping us to figure out what is the most effective way to engage the community and to get your feedback. So this survey is extremely important. If there's one thing that you can do that'll take 5 minutes that can have an impact in your community for years to come, it is this survey. So I just want to drive home that point. Thank you, and yeah.
Well said. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. So now we're going to move into the phase of the Q&A. Just a quick reminder, just from, just again, the working groups, great job, great presentations. And I really suggest that you take a look at this magazine that was developed. Everything that's been talked about tonight is in here. So make sure you grab one on the way out. And the other thing is if you just want to share the link to the YouTube Regent Park TV Focus, share that too, because that's really important to get the information out into your community. So we'll have it online questions, and we also have questions here. So does anyone have a question in the audience? Just put up your hand if you do. And it's close. It's close. It's about we're about 2 or 3 minutes away. Yeah, we're there. We have one other presentation. So, do we have any questions online at all? Yeah, could you raise your hand online if you have a question? Thanks for putting. And then in the audience, did you want to grab the mic and come up? Oh, you got it. Okay, great.
My question is for community benefits. I know this survey will be filled, and actually it's a 2 question. One of them is the information that is going into the survey, who's monitoring it? Is it a joint monitor, or is it just going directly to Toronto Community Housing? Because I heard whoever counts the vote knows who's voting, so I hope that is a joint count. The second question is also for, hold on, I forgot.
I will use this for the audience. Yeah. So the question was, how is the monitoring and evaluation occurring? So the CBOG members, so the community members that are beside you, are going to be involved in developing the monitoring and the evaluation process for the community benefits agreement from now until the end of it. And in terms of the voting process, we're still in process of developing that piece with CBOG. So this is a process that has been a lot of learning for TCHC, but there is involvement with CBOG many steps of the way. It's not always easy, but it's worth it.
The second question is, I know that right now you are gathering information, but what are the steps, what are the milestones or steps when it comes to community benefit? Is there a document that allows us to see after this year, this is going to happen and this is going to happen, that complete steps?
So in terms of the process, the flyer that we have that has a QR code shows the steps and the milestones of the phases of the engagement. In terms of the further steps, we have not developed that yet with CBOG, but right there. Yeah, so that flyer there. But I think looking at the long term of the community. If you see the flyer, there is bucket number 3, I believe. So that is ongoing granting for the community. So that is to ensure that there's funding for community priorities, not just for this one time, but for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the line. So as the community priorities in Regent Park change and evolve, there's funding that is readily available to support it.
Ibrahim, to answer your question directly, we're right now in the listening phase, right? So the survey is part of the listening phase. We're collecting your best ideas, okay? We want to hear from you right now. Where should we make the investments, okay? Because the next phase will involve members of CBOG when it comes to the packages that are going to be voted on, right? And those packages are going to be put together in consultation with Tridel and TCH, but CBOG does have the autonomy to come up with different ideas for packages that we could present to the community. Because at the end of the day, I want everyone to remember this, the community gets to make that decision, right? You get to make that decision, not CBOG, not TCH, not Tridel. You get to make that decision. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the voting process is one that everyone supports and can get behind around, so that everyone believes not just in the process, but the outcome of the entire process, the collection of ideas and the validation of what investments need to be made. Okay? Thank you.
So I think another thing that I want to highlight is for the community benefits agreements is $26.8 million. This is the largest community benefits agreement in North America. That's why me and Willie are talking pretty serious, because it is a big thing. And we need you to do that survey because, as Waleed said, I don't want to choose. I don't want to make the decision. CBOG doesn't. TCHC or Tridel. We want the community to let us know what's important. Gail said it. Bring your needs, and the conduit for your needs is that survey. In terms of the data analysis, all those other pieces. CBOG, your neighbors are involved in that whole process, gathering the information, analyzing it. So we need that information to come from the community. It's going to be looked at and analyzed by community, and the benefits are going to be for the community.
Yeah, I would again, about the community benefits, I really, really, really would appreciate everyone in this room's help to create some buzz with our young people. We need our youth to have a voice in this. They need to have a voice. They know what they need, and they're not consulted enough. So incentivize them, encourage them, do whatever you could possibly do to get them to please participate. Please fill out the surveys. Please also come, they're going to do some focus groups and some consultations with youth groups. Please encourage them, tell them this is for you guys. And we don't want adults speaking for our youth. Our youth need to speak for our youth. So I just want to please help us with that.
I'm so sorry, I'm back again. I'm sorry. There is also a raffle, so we are going to be giving out prizes for completing the survey. And I'm done. They're going to be really good. They haven't been finalized yet, but they're going to be pretty heavy. Yeah.
All right, appreciate that. Any other questions? Anybody else? Just show hands if you got any questions to the working groups, or if you have a comment. If anyone has a comment or anything, let's, okay, so I think, one more? Okay.
I do apologize. My last question is, I know that I've been very involved in the SDP network, and some of the things that I'm really seeing a challenge is when it comes to funding. I know that there is city funding, there used to be CIF funding, and some of the projects have run out of money. They want to continue doing the projects a second year or a third year. Is the SDP thinking of long-term ways to fund the SDP projects through looking for funding from the province or the federal? Is there a team, because this is a really need, is there a team dedicated to
funding the SDP. I know there's a funding committee, but funding has been a challenge.
Well said. Thank you so much, Ibrahim. I'll quickly say that if you look at the flyer and you look at the survey, there are buckets. There are specific buckets that we reference in the survey. And guess what? We know that the social development plan needs investment. Just to give everyone some context, the City of Toronto committed $2.5 million of funding for the SDP, $500,000 per year, and our last year will be 2024. So next year is our last year, right, of committed funding, right? So I think it's important for folks. Someone said? Yeah, someone's waving behind someone. Okay. I think it's important for folks to remember that the only way we're going to secure funding for the SDP is if we act collectively as a community. So if you think funding the SDP is an important priority, put it in the survey so we could consider it when it comes to community benefits, okay? That's the first answer. Second answer for you, Ibrahim, is, folks, we're in the middle of a mayoral election. I hope you all realize how important this is. On Monday, June 26th, you're going to choose our next mayor. And the mayor of Toronto has something called strong mayoral powers. And what that means is they get to decide what the budget, the city budget is for 2024. And if a mayoral candidate knocks on your door, you better ask this question. I'm going to challenge all of you to ask this question. Are you going to invest in a social development plan for Regent Park? Are you going to continue the much-needed investments in our community so our youth, so our seniors, so our neighbors are able to finally put together projects and initiatives and events that promote social cohesion and inclusion? Okay? I will ask that question. If you want some time, I can say it one more time and you can write it down. Okay? But I need you to make sure you ask that question. The third thing that I'm going to say about the SDP and securing funding is we actually have been successful in securing funding from the federal level when it came to a project that's focused on anti-black racism within the SDP. But we need you to reach out to your elected representatives and say, make the investment in the people of Regent Park and also across the city of Toronto by investing in a social development plan. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Adonis?
Okay. Another thing, maybe I'll just add to Waleed's point. There is going to be a 2024 call for proposals for the SDP. So we really want groups and residents who have ideas to join the working groups that they're interested in and to get help around writing proposals that we could then submit to the city for the 2024 call for proposals. And usually that happens in September, October, November, around there. It's now time to get your ideas into the working groups and work with working groups around various proposals that you're interested in doing. So I really encourage you to do that. And we'll keep you updated by Regent Park TV, Catch Da Flava, and Hello Neighbor.
Well done, Adonis. Gail?
Yeah, so your question is there a plan? And the answer is yes, there's a plan because there's a strategic planning group. So you have to, if you're planning, you have to know where you came from, where you are right now, and where you'd like to go. And this is the challenge, is that the boss is telling me, this is the challenge, is that we as a community say we want, but then we don't come to the table and start defining what that is. I want a job. Great. What kind? Do you want a part-time job? Do you want a job that's 10 to 3? So if there's the idea with the strategic planning committee is to gather all that information, look at what we have, what we need, and then figure out how we fill the gap. I hear people saying, oh, there's 26.8 million. Is that enough to do what we want? We don't know because we have not done the strategic planning. There's funding coming in 2024. What is that going to do for you? Give you a part-time job for 3 months? It will help, But is that, right? If we're looking at strategic planning, we have to look at this across the community and not just these small pockets. The development ends in, I don't know, they're delayed, 30 years. 30 years, I'm dead, for sure, guaranteed. I'm 50, too much. So I'm not here. But in 30 years, your kids that are now 5, 6, 7, 8 are in this position thinking about, what did my parents do? What did these people that were here before us do? Because we have nothing left. So I think we really have to start planning long-term and thinking strategically and not thinking about the now, not thinking about the $2,000 that we can get to do a short-term project, but how can we dream bigger, do bigger for our kids.
Thanks, Gail. Thanks, Gail. Appreciate it. Listen, just want to acknowledge our audience on Zoom. As you can see, there's quite a few people there. How many, Ishmael? Yeah, we've got 12 online, and we have a question from Hanny.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I have my question is the SDB table. They have four pillars. I wanted to know why they didn't make it to 5 pillars, because there is a housing issue crisis in Regent Park, and families are growing. And yes, they do need employment. Yes, we do need capacity building, but also we need housing. So did you guys think about that committee to add onto SDB table? Is it possible to add? I just wanted to know about that. And also another question for Dini. Dini was asking for youth specific, and I wanted to know what was, she was asking for youth to join the SDB table. I wasn't quite sure what she was saying. I don't know if you guys were able to hear me.
No, we can hear you. We can hear you perfectly. I just want to ask you, you were asking about why there wasn't a 5th pillar?
Hello?
Answer you the best I can. If anyone in the audience wants to take a run, I'll bring the mic to you. I know we're going through a strategic planning process, and that might be where we have a conversation about the priorities, and that might be where we can figure out whether or not there should be another pillar. So we are going to pay attention to that. Was there another part to your question that I missed?
Sorry, you got cut off. Sorry. I heard half of what you said.
Let me try it again. Can you hear me now, Hanny? Can you hear me okay? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think, well, the other thing we can do is, I think the audience heard me. I'm going to make sure that we get back and give a full answer, because I don't want to just kind of try to break it up. So I'm going to make sure that we respond. But what I said, Hanny, is that we are going through a strategic planning process, and we will make sure to address some of those issues and see what people think about the different parts on how the SDP can work and some of the priorities. Okay? Okay?
Thank you.
Okay?
And the other part was about Denise asking for youth. Dini asking for youth involvement.
Yeah, I was asking to encourage the youth to fill out this survey for the community benefit engagement. But as far as, do we want youth to be involved in the SDP, in the work groups and at stakeholders table or around the tables? Absolutely we do. Yes, we do. But what I was talking about is to make sure that the young people have a say in how this $26.8 million gets spent, and that they get to say what they'd like to see and how they'd like to see this money spent.
Thanks, Deanie. Go right ahead, yeah. So we do have a raffle, but there's a little bit of confusion I just want to just get some clarification on really quick. So how many people have a ticket for the raffle? Could you just give me a show of hands? Okay, so there's quite a few, because we have a bag full of, like, the other side of that ticket, but we're not sure how it's all working. Deanie, you want to just take a shot at it and see if we can make it work? Okay, so If you have your ticket. Oh, okay. Are we missing her? Are we missing the other part of your ticket? Oh, you have another question? Yes, absolutely.
Hello, hello.
No, go right ahead.
Yeah, this question came from our women group.
Yes.
The Women's Health and Social Support Group. They really they have concerns about the youth in Regent Park.
Was this for Gail? Is this for
No,
Gail?
no, no. I don't know how to address who to address that question. I think it's for the community benefit oversight working group. Yeah, the question is it feasible for the community to have a high school?
Oh, hey, I don't got no children. I'm out here being an auntie.
So we actually asked that question when it came to the needs of the community when we were considering the library space, right? The move from Parliament and Gerard to the new space. And what we learned is there's actually in place sort of a department within the city of Toronto, okay, that's actually responsible when it comes to like census to track the needs of the community, right? So TDSB, Toronto District School Board, will actually implement those needs, right? But you have a very important question, and that is we don't know what the demographics are going to be 10 years from now or 15 years from now. But we're challenging our friends when it comes to evaluations, which we're going to be talking about later on, is how do we start planning for that, right? The need may not exist now, but maybe based on future demographic changes in our community, like younger families moving into our community, we might need those schools, right? There may not be enough. So we hear you, and we're actually thinking about that. Yeah.
Actually, I think there's a need because we have a lot of youth in the community, you know, like we have, it's a big amount of people that, that go to different high school and they have to commute, is money that's coming from their pocket, right? And parents are worried about also even violence and also the kind of programs that those schools offer for those kids because most of the science and technology, all these STEM programs, is not offered in those high school, and they're not able to compete with the new technology. So how can we, as a parent, advocate for our children so that we can have a bright future? Because we don't have anything here, and we're afraid that in 10 or 15 years it's going to get worse because the money that we have today we might not have tomorrow. So I think there is a need for our children to have a proper high school where they can learn and have bright mind and they can compete with the market today because we are tired of living in poverty.
Lisette, you speak to all of our needs in this community. We all want local jobs, local opportunities, local schools. We don't want our kids to go like so far away from a community to get a good high-class education, right? We want to make sure the investments are made in our schools. What I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge everyone in this room to think about how to be an ally and get involved directly through our school system. So specifically, we've got a parents' council, right? That's one way of getting involved if you're a parent. You can also go there and observe and volunteer. Another thing is we've got our superintendent, but we also have a trustee, right? The superintendent is responsible, for supporting our principals, but our trustee is supposed to advocate for you, right? And they could work with our city councilor, they could work with our MPP and MP to make sure those necessary investments are made. But I think the first step is to meet with other like-minded folks in this meeting or after this meeting saying, can we start getting more involved in how our children access education? So let's get involved in the spaces that we can to advocate. Because without your advocacy, nothing's going to change.
That's true.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alid. And also have another question for the for this SDP.
Yeah.
When we have programs that really make a difference for the community, like the safety network, they have the training certificate, which I was part of, and I grew from it. Yeah. I can say that I can speak with confidence today. And as a result of being part of the training certificate. So those programs that really bring life to the community, bring awareness, and give voice to people in the community, how those programs are not getting funded, how the selection is made, and how all the four working groups can advocate for the groups that they have all these good projects that don't go through, you know?
Yeah.
Can I add to that,
Yeah.
as I saying it? It's not only you educating the youth, you need to educate the mothers too. If you don't educate them, you're not going anywhere, because the mothers, they're home, they're staying, have no knowledge on it. So you need to do balance on both ends to see the result.
Yeah, in terms of the question around how do we make sure that programs that are funded and then that begin and then they do a good job and then it demonstrates that there's a need and people are enjoying it, how do we make sure there's more funding to support such programs? I think that's a great question. And that's why, we created the Funding and Resource Committee to make sure, projects like that are projects that continue to get funded. And as you know, one particular funding always has its requirements, and we're always in negotiation and conversation to make those requirements work for us as opposed to just being general. And we're also working to diversify our funds so that we don't rely on one particular funder. And that's why I think it's important as part of the Funding and Resource Committee that we work on those efforts. So for instance, in the employment table, we reached out and applied for fundings from Metcalf, another foundation. So that's why we need to diversify. The safety network needs to diversify and approach different funders so that you're always in competition, right? You always, the need is greater than what's available. So that's why we have to put in a collective effort to diversify and to continue to negotiate so that programs that do work get funded. But it's not going to be easy. As you know, it's going to require more dialogue, more conversation. And I think that's why it's really important to have good partners, right? So for instance, I really work with the organizations. I ask Young Street Mission, Regent Park Community Health Center, I ask them to work with the grants with me, right? Because I have a skill in some area and some other area I don't have a skill. That's why it's really important to pull in your partner. Each work group has a strong partnership. That's why you work with your partner to use their skills so that you can apply for different funds. And I think you have a great partner in Toronto Community Housing. You have a great partner in the community, safety organizations. Use that to diversify so that next year you don't rely on one particular end, and we're working on the rest.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out to Lizette for those really, really powerful questions. And again, yeah, give her a hand. And again, Lizette is one of our members on the Community Benefits Oversight Working Group. So these are the kind of conversations that we're having, and these are your neighbors that are advocating on your behalf. And just I want to kind of re-highlight a theme that Willie brought up was there's mention of there's a bunch of needs and priorities, and the social development plan needs funding. In the community benefits agreement, the dollars, bucket one is going towards employment wages to support sustainable and effective jobs. Bucket number two is large-scale investments that are valued at $500,000 plus. There could be multiple investments with that amount for that bucket. And bucket number three, again, is for funding to go for the sustainability of programming for 5, 10, 15 years down the line. And I hope that within the survey results that everyone is going to fill out, we make some smart investments to reinvest into the infrastructure of Regent Park to have community wealth building, sustainable entrepreneurship, and those key pieces to address the needs for youth, adults, seniors, vulnerable individuals, and the whole community. It's $26.8 million. It's a lot, but as Gail said, do we really know it's a lot? How much do we really need? But I feel like the survey is a starting point to figuring out how we spend it and the way to spend it. and also to make the impact last.
Really well said. Michael? I'll walk back to you. Yeah, I think this one. Who had a question? Oh, Inez, yeah, come on up. You had a comment?
A comment regarding what Lisette said. Lisette, I have met up with Kristen Wantem and the new trustee. At the end of the day, you as a parent have more power. All you have to do is sit with them and talk with them. Why don't we meet up and I'll arrange the meeting and we talk to them, because as you know, aware of the situation of our schools in this neighborhood, they're the worst schools. And our kids are suffering because nobody wants to advocate. I've been advocating for over 6, 7 years, and it still hasn't been done. And I'm still dealing with it. And I think parents need to get together and really deal with this matter, because it's the future of our kids. Thank you.
Michael's got a comment. Michael?
Okay, so I just want to mention the fact that we have done some work on conflict resolution within the SDP, and also my group, the Regent Park Social Action Group, has done some work on consensus building. I mean, and also consensus is a major part of the SDP. So consensus is more about the issues, and conflict is more about the disputes that actually happen for whatever reason. Could be issues, could be other things. So we're working on that in various aspects from various angles and groups that are trying to build up the consensus in the community.
Well said. Thank you very much. Well said, Michael. If there's no other questions, Ishmael, are there any online? Okay. And if there's no more in the audience, I think we'll move to the raffle now. And this might be an event itself, so let's just give it a shot. Okay, let's do it that way. Why don't you two kind of take care of that?
Okay, first we'll tell them what it is.
Yeah.
So we have two $50 gift cards here. And the first number is 6961114. Does anybody have that? 1114. Nada. We're gonna pick them till we get a winner. Okay. Oh, we got a winner. Very good. Very good. Next.
All right, the next one.
Okay. Next is 6961106. 1106. Take a look at your tickets. 1106. Anybody? Going, gone. Okay. We'll try again. Okay. The last four numbers are 1119. 1119. I was going to say, how'd you get a ticket?
How'd that happen?
Anybody? Going twice? Gone. Shake up that bag.
All right, here we go.
Okay. Okay. The last numbers are 1151. 11. Yes, got it? Come on up.
Congratulations. Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, are we wrapping?
Sorry, could you?
Oh, sure. There's one announcement. Has anyone lost their keys? There's a set of keys that's been found. Check your pockets. Oh, they've lost their keys. Has anyone found a set of keys? Would you look around, please, see if anyone's found a set of keys? How many keys? Don't know? Okay. All right, next. Okay. Okay, well, that's a wrap, people. Thank you so much for being here. I think we had a real success. And please, 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 join up. Get involved. It's an amazing feeling to be involved in your own community. And there's nothing, hey, you kids, stop talking. I'm talking. Okay, shh, 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 shh. There's nothing more important than your voice. Because if it's not your voice, it's someone else's. Okay? And if you don't want someone else speaking for you, then you have to do the speaking. It has to be you who determines what our community is about. So join these organizations, join these groups, and then get your voice heard. The louder we are, the more this community becomes what we want. And thank you so much for being here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please follow our social media platforms. And for more information, please visit our website.